So welcome again, everyone. Okay, so tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to start our new IELTS course. The IELTS course actually goes for 4 weeks. Okay, starting tomorrow, the listening skill. The course is from Saturday to Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. Jordan time. Okay, starting with the listening skill, on Saturday and Sunday, we're going to talk about the 5 types of questions and how to answer each type of these questions. From Monday through Thursday, we're going to do 4 full listening tests, okay? The following week, starting the 23rd of September, we're going to take the reading scale. The first 2 days, we're going to talk about the 7 types of the reading questions and a very important strategy, which is time management. From Monday till Thursday, we're going to do 4 full reading tests. Then after that, the week starts the 30th of September. We're going to go with writing skill. In the writing skill, the first day, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to talk about the evaluating criteria of task 2. Okay, task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. From Monday to Wednesday, we're going to talk about writing task 2. So from Monday, we're going to talk about how to write an introduction. Tuesday, how to write body paragraphs. Wednesday, how to write a conclusion. And finally, on Thursday, we're going to talk about how to write task 1, okay, for both academic and general training. And finally, the last week, which starts on the 7th of October, we're going to take the speaking skill and we're going to divide our group here into 2 groups. Okay, so we allow people more time to practice. The first 3 days, we're going to talk about the evaluating criteria, fluency, coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy and pronunciation. Tuesday, we're going to talk about speaking part 1, Wednesday, speaking part 2, and finally, we're going to conclude our course with speaking part 3. Okay, so this is like just an overview of our course. Today, we're going to talk about like a specific point, a specific skill, a specific question in one of these skills to you can guys get insight into how this course actually is gonna go. Okay, so before we start talking about the details of like or maybe some kind of a question that we're going to talk about today, is there any question? Anyone want to say something?
السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله.
بس السؤال بالرايتنج ممكن تعطينا يعني كبريف جرامر اللي related to the writing
رح نحكي احنا في الجرامر، رح نحكي احنا في محاضرة ثالث محاضرة في الرايتنج، ثاني محاضرة في الرايتنج رح نتكلم فيها على الجراماتيكال رينج اند اكيورسي، ورح نتكلم انه الرايتنج اهم شيء نركز عليه اللي هو الكومبلكس ستراكشر. You need to build sentences، اوكي، اللي هي بنسميها using like subordinate conjunctions, like to give a reason, like since, as, because, to talk about time, like when, while, to make like if clause, for example, to give a contrast, like although, even though, things like that. We can also talk about not only but also. Okay, so this is the main point in writing regarding grammar. Okay, to reach like band 7. This is our goal. Okay, we're not going to go like through very basic simple grammar because this is an IELTS preparation course. It's not like a general English course. Okay, we're not going to talk about like simple present, how is simple present, simple past, these things, but we're going to talk about maybe sometimes, yeah, we're going to take some notes about especially present perfect, when something starts in the past or started in the past and still okay running now, or maybe its influences still exist now. So mainly in writing, we're going to focus on like 3 or 4 tenses: simple past, simple present, simple future, and present perfect. We're going to talk about them, but mainly we're going to talk about complex structure. Okay, هذا الشيء الرئيسي اللي راح نركز عليه بالنسبة للجرامر في الرايتنج. راح نحكي عنها النقطة هاي إن شاء الله.
Dr. Anas, I have a question, please.
Yes, تفضل سامر.
If for any reason, maybe in the next or in the second weeks, I will be busy maybe with my work schedule, or I will not be able to attend at 7 p.m. Maybe I will be late.
8
How
p.m.
will be there will be a problem, or because
You yeah.
we
The
are
whole
as nurses, our duty
yes.
is will end at 7 p.m. sometimes,
Yeah. The course starts at 8 p.m., not 7.
not 7. But as I could see, the speaking part
Yeah, speaking,
will be
there are two groups. You can join the
ended.
second group.
Okay,
You can join
and
the
does
second
this
at 9.
mm, and does this course will be beneficial for the also academic IELTS?
This is basically for academic, okay? And we're gonna
Okay,
also
okay,
talk a little bit for general, but it's basically for academic.
okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and don't worry, all sessions are recorded. It's gonna be recorded and sent to all people in the course. So if you
Okay,
miss something, you can like see it, okay, the following day. And if you have any question, don't worry, you can ask me.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Okay. Any other questions before we start talking about like a specific skill in this course? Okay, so here, guys, we're gonna talk about a specific question in the listening skill. Okay, in the listening skill, there are 5 types of questions. The first one is completion, which means like filling the gap. إملاء الفراغ. The second one, multiple choice, اختيار من متعدد. The third one is matching, then labeling, and finally classification. Okay, today we're going to talk specifically about this type, the second type of questions in the listening skill, multiple choice. It's one of the most tricky questions because maybe, yeah, there are some points that we're going to cover now. Okay, so let's take a look at this type of questions, multiple choice. So the multiple choice questions, we have like 3 varieties of this type. And the first one is to choose one answer out of 3 options. Okay, so you have 3 options as you see, and you need to pick one correct answer. So the answer for question 11 may be the correct answer, maybe A or B or C. Just pick one correct answer. So this is the first type of multiple choice questions. This is how it looks on a computer delivered test. هلا الناس اللي بدها تاخذ امتحان computerized هيك بكون شكل امتحان المالتيبل تشويس في الكمبيوترايزد. لاحظ بس معلومه مهمه كثير للجماعه اللي بدها تاخذ كمبيوترايزد عشان ما يروح عليكم اي سؤال. This is question 16. Okay, beneath it is question number 18. Where is the question number 17? Here it is. Okay, so what's the point? The point is that the questions in the computerized test is not beneath each other. They are next to each other. So this is question 16. Next to it is question 17. Question 18, next to it is question 19, and so on. Okay, so just be careful with this point, because some people actually miss some questions because of that. They did not notice that the questions are next to each other, not beneath each other. Okay, the other type of multiple choice questions is to choose 2 answers out of 5 options. For example, which 2 groups of people is the display primarily intended for? So maybe your answer is going to be residents for the local area and students from other departments. So I have 2 answers here, B and E, okay, for 2 questions, 21 and 22. Okay, when you have like 5 options, you need to choose how many correct options? 2. Okay, yeah, another example. What are Kathy and Graham 2 reasons for choosing the novelist Charles Dickens? Maybe because his novels are well known now, and maybe his reputation has changed in recent times. So the answer is C and E. So here I need to choose like 2 options. These 2 types of questions, to choose one option out of 3, 2 options out of 5, are quite common in the listening scale. And you are expected in your actual test to see these 2 types of questions. Okay, to choose one out of 3 is a must. You're gonna have it. You will see it. سؤال انك تختار واحد من 3 مليون بالمية يجيك في الامتحان. To choose 2 out of 5 also is very common. I can say like 90% you're going to get. You're going to have this question in the test. The third type, which is non-common at all, I think you will not see it, okay? To choose 3 options, okay, out of 6 or more options, 3 correct answers. Which 3 things can students have with them in the museum? You need to choose 3 answers, maybe B, D, and F. This question is not common anymore. Is uncommon, is not common anymore. هذا السؤال، هذا النوع من الأسئلة إنك تختار 3 options تقريبا خلينا نحكي بطل يجي. اوكي، فعندي 3 انواع، نختار اجابه من 3، نختار اجابتين من 5، او نختار 3 اجابات. رح نركز على اول نوعين، واحده من 3 و2 من 5، لانه هذا النوع تقريبا مش موجود. اوكي، now we're going to talk about details about this type of question. Okay, what are the tricks, and then after that we're going to try to like do some practice together. رح نتكلم عن التريكس عن هذا النوع، ونعمل بعض التمارين على هذا النوع تحديدا من الأسئلة. Okay, so let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so the first point, you're gonna hear the recording, okay? And you need to answer these questions based on what you hear. The first point, okay? Here the recording is gonna say something about, according to the speaker, the company, this company, okay? Are you expected to hear the very same words in front of you that is written in front of you? راح تسمع نفس الكلمات تماما زي ما هي، يعني راح يحكي لك مثلا نفرض جواب ايه هو الجواب الصح، راح يحكي لك has been in business for longer than most of its competitors، زي هيك راح يقرأ قراءة. No. No. The recording, the speaker is gonna make some kind of paraphrasing، يعني راح يعبر عنه بطريقة ثانية. Okay, for example, okay, option A says has been in business for longer what, guys? Than its competitors. Longer what? For longer what? Who knows? مين بيعرف؟ أو بتوقع؟
يعني comparison أو
يعني الأطول إيش؟ من حيث إيش أطول؟
Award.
Regarding what? Yes, زهراء?
Regarding for work or for reputation of business.
Has been in business.
Has been in business for longer what?
Longer company, the company.
Longer time, yeah, for longer time than most of its competitors. Thank you. Arranges holidays to more destinations than its competitors, so more destinations, or maybe has more customers. So the speaker says the following. Of course, you're going to hear it. You're not going to read it. You're not going to see this text. Okay, you're going to hear what the speaker says. But I'm writing in front of you just for your like note. The speaker says, we are a small family-run company, and we believe in the importance of the personal touch. So we don't aim to compete with other companies on the number of customers. Which option is this? Number of customers. C, thank you. So does C or is C a correct answer? So we don't aim to compete with others on the number of customers. It's not the correct answer because they don't aim to compete on customers. They have other goals. So what is the goal? What we do is built on our many years experience, more than any other holiday company. So they are in business, okay? They have experience in business more than other companies. Which option is this?
A.
A. Is A a correct answer?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Okay. I want you to notice that the speaker did not say has been in business for longer than. He said like experience more than almost any other, okay, company. So the correct answer is A. There is some kind of paraphrasing for the answer. And finally, to ensure we provide perfect holidays in a small number of destinations. So they arrange holidays to more destinations than their competitors?
No.
No. Okay, no. Not more destinations, but small number of destinations. So I'm going to exclude option B. The idea here I want to tell is that you're not going to hear the very same words written in front of you. You're going to hear some kind of paraphrasing. Okay, so this is the first trick you need to be careful with for multiple choice questions. The second one, are you going to hear only the correct answer, the correct option, or you're going to hear something about the three options?
About the three options.
Yes, thank you. You're going to hear something about the three options. How many lunches are included in the price of the holiday? 3, 4, or 5. You're going to hear these three words. راح تسمع هدول الثلاث كلمات. You have 5 nights. So this is the first one. 5 nights in the hotel. And the price covers, which means included. 5 breakfasts and dinners. Is 5 a correct answer?
Yeah, 5 no.
No, why? The question is about
lunches.
and here the information is about
The
Breakfast
Breakfast and dinner.
thank you so much. And lunch on the 3 days, so lunch 3 days when there are organized trips. So the answer is going to be
option A.
yeah, option A, 3. Okay, day 4. So also you're going to hear the word 4. Okay, is free and almost people have lunch in cafe or restaurants. This lunch is not covered because there is no organized trips. So it's only 3. So the answer is 3. There is something mentioned about each option. Okay. Even if you have the second type of multiple choice questions, which to choose 2 options out of 5, are you gonna hear something about the 5 options؟ راح تسمع إشي عن ال5 options ولا بس عن 2 options الصح؟
Only 2 options.
Usually about
No.
the 5 options.
Yes, you will hear about the 5 options. For example, which 2 groups of people is the display primarily intended for? Students from English department, residents of the local area, university teaching staff, potential new students, or students from other departments. Okay, Kathy, this is like, I think this is part 3. So there's some kind of discussion. Kathy, good. So you have gathered who is expected to come and see the display. Is it for the people studying English? Which option is this?
Students from the English department.
Thank you, A. Or students from other departments. Which option is this?
E.
E, thank you. A or E. So Graham, Normie, that was how it used to be in the past. So, but here I am asked about
The future.
present. Yeah, the present, not the past. Okay, but it didn't attract many people. So this year is going to be something different. So A and E are
excluded.
Okay. Excluded, thank you. Okay, it will be publicized in the city to encourage people to come and find out something of what goes on here. So people in the city, which option is this?
B.
Thank you so
The
much.
local area.
Yeah, residents of the local area. It's going to be, yeah, thank you. Yeah, there is, yes, ثابت لو شوي تبعد المايك أو تظبط المايك. Yes, there's some kind of like noise. Okay, thank you so much. And okay, so this is the first answer. Let's continue. And it's included in the information that it is sent to people who are considering applying to study here next year. Which option is this, people considering
D.
to study? Thank you so
D.
much, D. So potential new students. Okay, what about option C? Is gonna say something about it? Yes, they're gonna say something about it. Presumably, some current students and lecturers. Lecturers are the teaching staff. Welcome. Okay, I would imagine so, but we've been told to concentrate on other categories of people. Okay, so yeah, they will come, but we are told to concentrate on other people. So why I'm not going to choose option C? They are coming, teaching staff.
Because he mentioned in the question primarily.
Thank you so much. Yeah, primarily. Yeah, بشكل رئيسي مين المستهدف. Yeah, teaching staff, they could come, but they are not primarily intended for. يعني مش هم المستهدفين. They could come, yeah, no problem. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Another point you need to be careful with is that we said that there's something mentioned about each option. Okay. These things are not mentioned in order regarding the options. For example, where can customers meet the tour manager before traveling to the Isle of Man? Are we going to hear something about Liverpool first, then Hisham, then Luton? Or not necessarily in order?
Not necessarily in
Not
order.
necessarily in order. So our holiday starts in Hisham. So he starts talking about which option? B.
The middle one.
Yes. Where your tour manager will meet you. Is B a correct answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And you will travel by ferry to the Isle of Man. Okay. Some people prefer to fly from Luton instead, option C. Okay, but there is no tour manager, so I'm not going to choose it. And another popular option is to go by train to Liverpool and take a ferry from there, Liverpool, and there is no tour manager, nothing about a tour manager in Liverpool. So also I'm going to exclude it. So the correct answer is Hisham. So the option is not mentioned in order. But what about the questions? Are the questions mentioned in the order? In order? يعني اول شيء راح اسمع جواب 10 11 بعدين 12 يس ثانك يو يا يعني مثلا لو سمعت جواب 12 ولسه ما سمعت جواب 11 بكون سؤال 11 شو صار فيه؟
You missed it.
Yes, you missed it. Thank you. راح. Yeah, okay. And sometimes you need to be careful with tiny details in the question and in the options. For example, what does Ruth? Ruth is a name of a female student. Think is surprising. Okay, what does Ruth think is surprising about the difference in oldest children's academic performance? So always that, or let's say in many cases, the oldest child actually do a little bit better in academic study than his siblings. Why? Because it's mainly thanks to their rules as teachers for their siblings. Because they are like teachers, they teach their younger siblings. The advantages they have only lead to a slightly higher level of achievements. Okay, so yeah, they are better, but not too much, a little bit. Okay, the extra parental attention they receive at a young age makes little difference. Okay, always the oldest child, okay, at once he was the first child, so he like got some extra attention. So Ruth said something like this. But the main reason for the marginally higher academic performance of oldest children is quite surprising, I guess. Okay, it's not only that they benefit intellectually from extra attention at a young age. Which option talks about extra attention at a young age? C, extra parental attention, which is what I would have expected. Am I gonna choose option C as a correct answer?
No.
No. Why? Because
No.
I would have expected, which means it's not
Surprising.
It's not surprising. I need an option which is surprising. It's that the surprising thing is that they benefit from being teachers for their younger siblings. Which option is this?
A.
So A is the correct answer. Okay, Ed, the male student said, right, and this gives them status and confidence, which again contributes in a small way to better performance. So he's talking about option B. Okay, this led to slightly, which means like small way, level of achievement, better performance. So why B is not a correct answer?
Because ED who said that.
Yeah,
Not
thank
true.
you. Yeah, thank you so much. The question wants, okay, what Ruth said. okay? Not what anyone else. This information is said by Ed, okay? So I'm not gonna choose it because I want what Ruth said. So option A is said by Ruth and is surprising. Option B is said by Ed, not gonna choose it. Option C is said by Ruth, but it's not surprising. So the correct answer is gonna be A. It's a little bit tricky question. Okay? Okay, guys. So these are generally the tricks you need to be careful with. Another like a slight information you need to be aware of is that here's usually the question, the multiple choice question, usually in which part, guys? مين بيعرف في أي part في الامتحان عادة بيجي سؤال multiple choice؟
Second,
Yes.
listening.
part
Second part.
2 and
two.
part 2 and 3. اوكي عادة بيكون في part 2 part 3. هلا في البارت 2 لما يجينا السؤال multiple choice، لاحظوا مشكلة سؤال multiple choice انه سؤال طويل. اوكي يعني مثلا نلاحظ عندي 15 16 17 18 19 20 6 نقاط، كل نقطة عليها 4 جمل، جملة السؤال و3 اوبشنز، 6 في 4 24 جملة. في بداية البارت بيعطيك بس 30 ثانية تقرأ، مثلا ممكن تقرأ 6 أسئلة، وهون بدك تقرأ يعني عندك هون من سؤال من 11 ل 14 عندك جملة السؤال و5 اوبشنز، يعني عندك 6 نقاط وعندك هون كمان 6 نقاط. There are a lot to read in this question, and this is a big problem. Okay, and the time they give us at the beginning of the part is not enough to go through all the options. So what to do? What is the solution? شو الحل؟ ما عنديش وقت بكفي اني اقرا كل الاوبشنز بصراحه، ال 30 ثانيه اللي بعطيني اياها، شو اعمل؟
I must read the difficult questions.
Not that
تقرأ
only.
السؤال بس.
راح نعمل شيء ثاني اللي هو كالتالي. At the end of the previous parts، في نهاية البارت اللي قبل، اوكي؟ في نهاية كل بارت، هون في النهاية بعد ما يجاوب سؤال 10 في بارت 1، اوكي؟ الريكورد راح يعطيني some time to check my answers to part 1. He's going to say something like this. That is the end of part 1. You now have a half a minute to check your answers to part 1. What I'm going to do with this 30 seconds?
Go to part 2 and read the question.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna take these 30 seconds and go to part 2 and start reading and highlighting the questions to like borrow time from the previous part. This is a very effective way to like to gain some time. So maybe I'm gonna do like the first question, and then okay, questions like these 6 statements or 6 information options, and then when the speaker turns to part 2, okay, and says you now have 30 seconds to look at the questions, I'm already okay have looked at like half of them. Then the time that will give me at the beginning of the part is enough to read the rest of questions. Okay, وصلت الاستراتيجي هاي فكرتها؟ بعد ما اخلص كل بارت، يعني نفس الشيء راح اعملها في بارت 2 بارت 3. يعني هون خلصت بارت 2، اوكي، سؤال 20 جاوبته. It's gonna give me some time to check my answers to part 2. I'm gonna take this time and go to part 3. In part 3 also it is expected to have multiple choice questions برضو، بس multiple choice شوي راح تكون أصعب لأنه part 3 عادة بيكون موضوع أكاديمي. ونفس الفكرة بالبارت 3 بارت 4، بعد ما أجاوب سؤال 30 في البارت 3 راح آخذ ال 30 seconds اللي بعطيني إياها وبروح على البارت 4 وبقرأ، يعني مثلا بعلم على الأسئلة من 31 ل 33 ل 34، فأوريدي لما يحكي لي turn to part 4 okay you now have some time to look at the questions from 31 to 40، أنا already عملت مثلا من 31 ل 35، فالوقت اللي بعطيني إياه بيكون كافي إني أعمل الباقي من 36 ل 40. Okay guys.
What about paperwork؟
نفس الشيء، بيبر أو كمبيوتر راح يعطيك وقت في نهاية كل بارت عشان okay check your answers to the following part. So no problem even if you are doing the paper-based test. Okay everyone. Okay. Yeah, let's try guys to answer these questions okay together. We firstly don't answer like while the recording is like is on. When I stop the recording, okay, I want you to write down your answers in the chat box, in a comment, okay? And write the two answers. اكتبوا الإجابتين الحرفين. اوكي، رح نسمع هلا من 11 ل 12 السؤالين، ونشوف شو الصح وشو الخطأ، وبنرجع نسمعه كمان مرة عشان نتأكد من الإجابات. اوكي، تمام. Okay, so here, which two warnings does Dan give about picking mushrooms? Okay, two warnings about picking mushrooms. Do not pick more than one variety of mushroom at a time. Okay, don't pick mushrooms near busy roads. Okay, don't eat mushrooms given to you. Don't eat mushrooms while picking them. Don't pick old mushrooms. You need to pick like new mushrooms or fresh mushrooms. Okay, okay, guys, are you ready to?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I think I'm gonna play the recording not from here, but yeah. Okay, this is test 3. Okay, part 2.
Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
You will hear an expert on picking wild mushrooms called Dan talking on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14.
We're gonna do questions 11 to 12, then 13 and 14. Yeah. Try to listen, guys, and tell me which two warnings does Dan give.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
This evening, we're delighted to welcome Dan Beagle, who's just written a book on looking for and finding food in the wild. He's going to tell us everything we need to know about picking wild mushrooms.
Thank you very much. Well, I need to start by talking about safety. You really need to know what you're doing because some mushrooms are extremely poisonous. Having said that, once you know what to look for, it's really worth doing for the amazing variety of mushrooms available, which you can't get in the shops. But of course, you have to be very careful, and that's why I always say you should never consume mushrooms picked by friends or neighbours. Always remember that some poisonous mushrooms look very similar to edible ones, and it's easy for people to get confused. The other thing to avoid is mushrooms growing beside busy roads, for obvious reasons. But nothing beats the taste of freshly picked mushrooms. Don't forget that the ones in the shops are often several days old and past their best.
Okay, guys, the two answers. Okay, Samir said say C and B. Marwan, D and B. Okay, Zahra, B and E. Okay, Reem, B and C. Okay, yes. Who's else, guys? Min kaman? Okay, Maher, C and B. Okay, so yeah, any other answers? Marwan, C and B. Thank you. Thabit, B and C. Raghad, C and B. Okay, so let's hear it again and to see what's the correct answer.
Delighted to welcome Dan Beagle, who's just written a book on looking for and finding food in the wild.
Nora, C
He's
and B.
going to
Thank you.
tell us everything we need to know about picking wild mushrooms.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Well, I need to start by talking about safety. You really need to know what you're doing because some mushrooms are extremely poisonous.
Okay, so
having said that, once you know what to look for, it's really worth doing for the amazing variety of mushrooms available.
So you should do for amazing variety of mushrooms, okay, available. Did he said don't pick more than one variety of mushroom?
No.
No, he said
No.
no, you need to try or something like a wide variety. So I'm going to exclude option A. Okay,
which you can't get in the shops.
so,
But of course, you have to be very careful.
okay,
And that's why I always say
what?
you should never consume mushrooms picked by friends or neighbours.
Don't consume mushrooms picked by friends and neighbors. This is his advice. Which option?
C.
C. Yeah,
no.
thank you. Okay. Don't eat mushrooms picked by friends and neighbors. تاكلش مشروم خطفوهم ال friends and neighbors. Okay. So don't eat mushrooms given to you by friends or neighbors. What about D? Don't eat mushrooms while picking them.
He didn't say that.
He did not say,
No.
he did not say that. He said don't like eat mushrooms picked by friends. I don't know when they pick them. Okay. Okay, so don't eat mushrooms given to you. And this is like also a trick. They sometimes use the same word in other option. Okay, let's continue.
Always remember
Hmm.
that some poisonous mushrooms look very similar to edible ones,
Okay,
and it's easy for people to get confused.
okay.
The other thing to avoid
Uh-huh.
is mushrooms growing beside busy roads.
I think this one is very clear. Okay, mushrooms, okay, growing beside busy roads. Which option is this? Thank you so much. Yes, it's quite clear. It's going to be option B. Okay, what about like old mushrooms, something like that?
For obvious reasons. But nothing beats the taste of freshly picked mushrooms.
Okay,
Don't forget that the ones in the shops are often several days old.
okay. So he said the taste of like fresh mushrooms is good. Is he saying something? Don't pick old mushrooms?
No.
No, he said the taste is better for fresh mushrooms, but he did not say don't pick old mushrooms. Thank you so much. So the answer is going to be B and C, or maybe C and B. If you answer one correct and the other is not correct, okay, how many marks you're going to get?
Half.
Yeah, you're going to get 1 mark. Yeah, okay, for the correct answer. Okay, let's continue. Which two ideas about wild mushrooms does Danny say are correct? Okay, wild mushrooms are correct. Mushrooms should always be peeled before eating. What the meaning of peeled?
يقشر.
يقشرها. Yes, لازم يتقشروا. Thank you. Mushrooms eating by animals may be unsafe. Okay, eating by animals may be unsafe. Cooking destroys toxins in mushrooms. Brightly colored mushrooms can be edible. Okay, when it's like very red, it can be eaten. All poisonous mushrooms have a bad smell. Okay, there are 2 correct information about wild mushrooms. Okay, let's hear it and try to figure out the answer. Question 13 and 14.
And past their best.
Okay.
There are certain ideas about wild mushrooms that it's important to be aware of.
Okay.
Don't listen to people who tell you that it's only okay to eat mushrooms that are pale or dull. This is completely untrue. Some edible mushrooms are bright red, for example. Personally, I prefer mushrooms cooked, but it won't do you any harm to eat them uncooked in salads. It's not necessary to peel them. Another thing you should remember is that you can't tell if a mushroom is safe to eat by its smell. Some of the most deadly mushrooms have no smell and taste quite nice, apparently. Finally, just because deer or squirrels eat a particular mushroom doesn't mean that you can.
Okay, so what do you think, guys, the answers are? Okay, Summer says B and C. Thank you. Yes, who else? Yes, difficult a little bit. Thabit's B and D. Zahra A and D. Maher B and D. Thank you. Okay, Ragad, B and D. Okay, let's hear it again and try to find out the answer.
Ops.
Yes, Reem, not A and E, thank you. Samir, B and D, sorry, no problem. Okay.
Are often several days old
Okay.
and past their best.
Mhm.
There are certain ideas about wild mushrooms that it's important to be aware of.
Yeah, like what?
Don't listen to people who tell you that it's only okay to eat mushrooms that are pale or dull.
What's the meaning of pale or dull?
Bright
That's-
color.
Yeah, the opposite of bright color. Yeah. لونها شاحب قاتم, okay? Okay, it's okay to eat. Don't listen to them.
This is completely untrue.
Uh-huh.
Some edible mushrooms are bright red, for example.
Some edible mushrooms are bright red. Which option is this?
D.
D.
D, thank you. Brightly colored mushrooms can be edible sometimes. Yeah, some edible mushrooms, بعض الفطر edible can be eaten, is bright red, brightly colored, can be edible. Yes, thank you. This is information correct. What, okay, is the second information?
Personally, I prefer mushrooms cooked.
He prefers mushrooms cooked. Did he say that cooking destroys toxins? Did he mention
No.
this particular information?
No.
But it won't do you any harm to eat them uncooked.
There's no harm to eat them uncooked. So I'm gonna exclude option C.
In salads,
Mhm.
it's not necessary to peel them.
Not necessary to
Another
peel.
thing,
It's not necessary to peel them. I'm
Exclude
gonna
A.
also exclude A. Okay?
you should remember,
Is
is that you can't tell if a mushroom is safe to eat by its smell.
okay.
Some of the most deadly mushrooms have no smell.
So some deadly mushrooms have no smell. So all mushrooms or poisonous mushrooms have bad smell?
No.
No.
No, some
No.
of them have no smell at all.
And taste
So we
quite nice,
excluded.
apparently.
Yeah, excluded.
Finally,
Uh-huh.
just because deer or squirrels eat a particular mushroom doesn't mean that you can.
Okay, not because some animals eat that mushroom, that means you can. Which option is this?
B.
B, thank you so much. Mushrooms eating by animals may be unsafe for you. Maybe they can like handle this mushroom, but you maybe not. It's like toxin for you, but for them, no, it's fine. Okay, so the answer is B and D, or D and B. Thank you. We're gonna continue now with like choose one option out of 3. Okay, what advice does Dan give about picking mushrooms in parks? You need to choose wooded areas, don't disturb wildlife, or you should get there early. Okay, let's try to answer question 15, guys.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20.
We're gonna take them question by question. Yeah, it's gonna play now any minute.
Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
Of course, mushroom picking is associated with the countryside, but if you haven't got a car, your local park can be a great place to start. There are usually a range of habitats where mushrooms grow, such as playing fields and wooded areas. But you need to be there first thing in the morning, as there's likely to be a lot of competition. Not just from people, but wildlife too.
So what's the answer, guys?
C.
Why it's C? What did the writer said? What the speaker said? You should be there the
In
first,
the morning.
yes, the first thing in the morning. You need to be there very early because of competition and because of also wildlife could like eat them. So the answer is C. Thank you. Dan says it's a good idea for beginners to do what? Use the mushroom app, join a group, or take a reference book. Okay.
The deer often get the best mushrooms in my local park.
Mhm.
If you're a complete beginner,
So
I wouldn't recommend going alone
Mhm.
or relying on photos in a book,
Mhm.
even the one I've written. There are some really good phone apps for identifying mushrooms, but you can't always rely on getting a good signal in the middle of a wood.
so
If possible,
Mhm.
you should go with a group led by an expert.
so the advice is
B.
thank you so much. Yeah. And thank you, Marwan. Thank you, Reem. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Raghat. Yeah. The answer is B. You should go with a group. Okay. Don't rely on like on books or on like pictures on a book. Take a reference book. Okay. And don't rely on mobile phone app because sometimes you're not gonna get a signal. But his advice is not to go alone, but to join a group. So the answer, the correct answer is B. Thank you. That's good. Okay. Question 17. What does Dan say about say is important for conservation? You need to select only fully grown mushrooms. To pick a limited amount of mushroom, don't pick all the mushrooms, just like a small number. You need to avoid areas where rare mushroom species grow. You need not to go to these areas, okay? So let's hear it and try to find an answer. Okay, let's go.
You'll stay safe and learn a lot that way.
Okay.
Conservation
Mhm.
is a really important consideration,
Mhm.
and you must follow a few basic rules.
Like what?
You should never pick all the mushrooms in one area.
Mhm.
Collect only enough for your own needs.
Mhm.
Be very careful that you don't trample on young mushrooms or other plants. And make sure you don't pick any mushrooms that are endangered and protected by law.
Okay, what do you think, guys?
B.
B, picking a little amount of mushroom. And yes, thank you, guys. Thank you, Marwan. Thank you, Maher, Zahra. Yeah, Zahra. Okay, Samir. Okay, let's hear it again and try to find out the answer. خلينا نسمعها كم مرة ونحاول
Well,
نشوف
stay
الأنسر.
safe and learn a lot that way.
Yeah, conservation.
Conservation is a really important consideration,
So,
and you must follow a few basic rules.
like what?
You should never pick all the mushrooms in one area.
You should not pick all the mushrooms in one area.
Collect only enough for your own needs.
Just collect only enough for your need. Don't collect it all. Which option is this?
B.
B, thank you. It's gonna be B. Picking a limited number, okay? Did he said fully grown mushrooms? No. Okay. ما حكاش fully grown. حكى full, okay, the full of mushrooms in this area. So be careful. The word grown has not been mentioned. Okay, what about like rare mushroom species?
Be very careful
Mhm.
that you don't trample on young mushrooms
Okay.
or other plants.
Okay.
And make sure you don't pick any mushrooms that are endangered. And
Okay, don't pick mushrooms that they are endangered, rare mushrooms. But he said don't go to the areas where mushrooms species grow.
No.
No, he did not say don't go to these areas. He said don't pick. You can go to these areas, but don't pick rare mushrooms. Okay, you see, you need to be like very precise, guys. Okay, so the correct answer is gonna be B. تمام؟ واضح عند الكل ليش B? Okay, so let's move on to Question 18. According to Dan, some varieties of wild mushrooms are in decline because there is what? A huge demand for them from restaurants, the lack of rain, or the rise in building development. Okay, let's try to find out an answer.
Protected by law.
Okay.
There's been a decline in some varieties of wild mushrooms in this part of the country.
Why?
Restaurants are becoming more interested in locally sourced food, like wild mushrooms.
Okay.
But the biggest problem is that so many new houses have been built in this area in the last 10 years. And more water is being taken from rivers and reservoirs because of this, and mushroom habitats have been destroyed.
Thank you. So what's the main concern? Thank you, guys. Yes, C. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Naura, Adnan, Reem, Zahra. Yeah, thank you. It's gonna be C. Okay. Yeah, some restaurants, many restaurants have become more interested in mushrooms. Okay, but the main concern is the constructing of housing in the area. There is no lack of rain. He said, like taking water from river. Okay, so thank you. The answer is going to be C. Question 19. Dan says that when storing mushrooms, people should do what? Keep them in the fridge for no more than 2 days. They need to take an action after 2 days. Keep them in a brown bag in a dark room. Leave them for a period after washing them. You see, firstly, you wash them, and you need to leave them for a period after washing them. Okay, so let's hear it and try to figure out the answer.
Anyway, a word of advice on storing mushrooms.
Yes.
Collect them in a brown paper bag.
Okay.
And as soon as you get home, put them in the fridge.
Uh-huh.
They'll be fine for a couple of days, but it's best to cook them as soon as possible. After washing them really carefully first, of course. So.
Okay, so what do you think? We're gonna, I think, hear it again, because this one is a little bit difficult. Okay, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Carol. Yeah, A. Thank you, Marwan, Maher, Samir, Ragad, Zahra, Adnan. Yeah, A. Thank you. Okay, why it's A? Let's hear it again. Okay. Yeah.
Water is being taken from rivers and reservoirs because of this, and mushroom habitats have been destroyed.
Okay.
Anyway, a word of advice on storing mushrooms. Collect them in a brown paper bag.
Collect them in a brown paper bag. In a dark room?
And as soon as you get home, put them in the fridge.
Anything about dark room?
Nothing.
No, I'm not going to choose B. Okay, put them in the fridge. Option A. For 2 days?
They'll be fine for a couple of days.
Yeah, what's the word instead of 2?
Couple of days.
Couple of days. Couple of days means 2 days. And then after that, you need to do what?
But it's best to cook them as soon as possible.
It's best to cook them for, yeah, you need to keep them only for 2 days. So the correct answer is going to be A. Okay, what else?
After washing them really carefully.
After washing them. Okay, so you need to leave them for a period after wash them?
First, of course.
We didn't say that.
I didn't say that you need to leave them, okay? You can eat them after washing them, okay? The most important thing is not to leave them for more than 2 days. Finally, what does Dan say about trying new varieties of mushrooms? Yeah, you need to experiment this with different recipes. Expect some to have a strong taste. Cook them for a long period of time, okay?
So, everybody knows what a mushroom tastes like, right?
Okay.
Well, you'll be surprised by the huge variety of wild mushrooms there are. Be adventurous. They're great in so many dishes. Stir-fries, risottos, pasta. But just be aware that some people can react badly to certain varieties, so it's a good idea not to eat huge quantities to begin with.
Which option is this? Okay, Samir goes with A. Zahra A. Reem also A. Marwan A. Okay, let's hear it again.
Best to cook them as soon as possible,
Mhm.
after washing them really carefully first, of course. So,
Mhm.
everybody knows what a mushroom tastes like, right?
Yes.
Well, you'll be surprised by the huge variety of wild mushrooms there are.
Is he said that they have strong taste, or we just know the taste?
He said we only know the taste.
Yeah, we know the taste. Okay, let's continue.
Be adventurous.
Uh-huh.
They're great in so many dishes.
Dishes.
Stir-fries, risottos, pasta.
Yeah, okay, be like explorer or something like that, adventurous. Try them with different like dishes. Which option is this? Of course, it's going to be option A. Yes. Okay, let's continue.
But just be aware that some people can react badly to certain varieties. So it's a good idea not to eat huge quantities to be...
So not eat huge quantities. Is there anything about cooking them for a long time? Some of them have strong taste. No. So the correct answer is going to be A. Okay, so this is, guys, how we like do this kind of question. So be careful with, okay, paraphrasing. The options are not mentioned in order. There is something mentioned about each option, and be careful with the tiny details in the question and in the options. And we're gonna also borrow time from the previous parts, okay, at the end of the previous part, like at the end of previous parts, like after answering question number 10, we will be given 10, like 30 seconds to check our answers. We're going to take this time and start reading and highlighting questions in the following part, so we can like borrow time, enough time to be able to read the whole questions before the recording begins. Okay, again, this is in short a summary about today's session. This is how the course is going to go. Again, tomorrow we are starting a new course. The course will start with the listening scale. Okay, on Saturday and Sunday, we're going to talk about the 5 types of questions and the tricks. From Monday to Thursday, we're gonna like solve full four tests. The following week, starting the 23rd of September, we're gonna go with a reading scale. The first 2 days, we're going to talk about the 7 types of questions in reading scale and how to answer them. Then we're going to do four full tests. Then the writing scale, we're going to start with writing task 2, task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. And we're going to talk about how to write an introduction. We're going to take some templates, how to write a body paragraph, how to write a conclusion. Yeah, we're going to tell you what the examiner actually is looking for. Okay, so you can get a good score. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about writing task 1. Okay, and finally, the final week starts on the 7th of October. We're going to be taking the speaking scale. We're going to talk about the evaluating criteria, fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. And in details, part 1, part 2, and part 3, some strategies how to like to talk for 2 minutes in part 2, how to answer some complex structures in part 3. Okay, so these the details of our course. And here's like my contact number if you are interested. Okay, I'm so glad, so happy to have you all here today. If you have any question, please go ahead. If anyone has any question, please, you can ask.
For me, I'm still
Yes.
not clear about taking a computer-based exam or paperwork. And some of people, they advised me for computer, others say paper is easier. So still I am like, I don't have
Well,
final decision.
how is your computer skills?
Normal. I am not very professional.
But good.
Good. Yeah, I can use. I mean, I
Well,
can use, but
if you are good, I'm gonna advise you to take the computer delivered test, because
okay.
actually in the writing skill, there's a huge difference between like paper and computer. Okay, in the writing skill, you can easily edit your answer. You can add any sentence you want. You can delete any sentence you don't want. But if you are doing the paper-based test, let's say imagine that you have written like 2 body paragraphs, and then you want to like insert a sentence in the middle of a body paragraph. How can you do it? How to insert a sentence in the middle
It
of
will
a
be
paragraph?
difficult. I
Yeah.
should delete,
You should
erase.
erase. Maybe you cannot do that actually, or maybe to
Yes.
like write it in a very small font between lines. This is of course inadvisable because maybe the examiner is going to not be able to read it. So while in the computerized test, you're not going to face this problem. You just put the cursor, حط المؤشر wherever you want and write. Okay. There is a word count in the computer test. في عندك عداد للكلمات في امتحان الرايتنج في الكمبيوترايز. في البيبر بيست ما في عداد للكلمات، بدك تعد انت. عادة في الكمبيوترايز واحد بيكتب اكثر من البيبر بيست. النتيجة في الكمبيوترايز بتطلع بعد 3 ل 5 ايام. البيبر بيست بياخذ 13 يوم. كمان هاي ملحوظة ممكن الواحد ياخذها بعين الاعتبار. مش هالفرق الكبير في الليسننج والريدنج، بس
What
انا في
about the
الريدنج
speaking?
the speaking there is
Speaking, it
no
will be virtual.
there is no computer and paper based speaking is speaking. Yeah, مفيش بيبر ورقي، مفيش
I
بيبر
mean, I will
وكمبيوتر.
be face to face with the
Yes,
examiner, or I will
there
be.
are 2 types of في الكمبيوترايزد. هلا الكمبيوترايزد والبيبر بيست هذا بس لمهارات الليسننج والريدنج والرايتنج. هلا سبيكينج ما فيش شيء اسمه بيبر وكمبيوترايزد. سبيكينج يا بتختبر الاكزامينر بكون معك في نفس القاعه فيس تو فيس، او بكون انت بتختبر مع الاكزامينر على برنامج محادثه يعني. اوكي زي
But
الزوم
it
زي
will be
شيء.
live. It will be live,
Yeah,
or
of
it will
course,
be.
of course. No, live, of course, live.
It's not
Of
like
course,
the mock test, because in the mock test I practiced some speaking exams.
Hello.
They will ask something, and if you didn't hear from the first time, it's gone. The question.
No. This is like a real person live test
Okay.
with a real examiner. No, and this has nothing to do with computer and paper based. No. يعني ممكن واحد اختباره بيبر بيست بس السبيكينج تبعه يعمله على في المختبر في المركز على كمبيوتر مع شخص. ممكن واحد
And
كمبيوترايزد واختباره يكون فيس تو فيس، ما لهاش علاقه.
I think they are not in the same day. The speaking is always
It
scheduled.
depends. Yeah, it depends on the center that you are taking the test. It depends on the availability of the examiner. Usually IDB tests, like here in Jordan, Oval Academy, Uni House, it's usually the same day, before or after the test. British Council, usually on like previous day. For example, if your test is on Saturday, your speaking test is on Friday. Something like this. It depends on the center, on the availability of the examiner, something like that. There is no like general rule regarding this. Yes.
دكتور سؤال لو سمحت.
Yes, تفضل نوراس.
شو بتنصحنا افضل مكان انه نمتحن؟
هلا
بريتش كونسل
والله
ولا
ما فيش شيء اسمه
تختلف الاسئله يعني تختلف
لا
مع مستوى
لا
الاسئله؟
لا ما لها علاقه من نفس المستوى الاسئله. ما فيش شيء اسمه مكان احسن من مكان يعني. هو بس انا يعني المهم انك تكون محضر وجاهز ودارس. اوكي. هلا في النهايه مستواك هو اللي بحدد، مش المكان. اوكي. ولا حتى البلد. يعني لو اختبرت في الامارات، في السعوديه، في الاردن، نفس الامتحان، نفس العلامه، نفس كل شيء بغض النظر عن المركز. هلا انا بالنسبه لي شخصيا انا عندي زي some kind of an agreement with Oval Academy. عندي اتفاقيه مع المكتب البيضاوي. اي حد بحب يروح يختبر عندهم بس يحكي لهم انه انا جاي من طرف دكتور انس. اوكي. بيعملوا له اختبار مجاني، اختبار mock test for free. اوكي. with طبعا اذا حجزت الاختبار عندهم with a speaking test also for free. اوكي. اللي بحب يختبر عندهم بس يحكي له من طرف دكتور انس او كذا. انا في عندي اتفاقيه انه اي طالب بيجي من طرفي يعملوا لهم امتحان mock test.
شو بكلف دكتور عندهم؟
الامتحان عند الكل 165 او 170 نفس السعر عند كل المراكز.
يعني الامتحان كانه امتحان حقيقي يعني بيمتحنونا زي الامتحان
الامتحان الموك بيكون زي الامتحان الحقيقي. يس.
لا بقطر أكثر من 165 بعتقد.
قطر انا بحكي عن الاردن. بلاد ثانيه لا غير
بالعملة.
طبعا.
قصدك
يعني
بالعملة الأردنية.
بالعمله الاردنيه بكلف هون 170 دينار بس. لا طبعا غير. يعني في السعوديه مثلا اتوقع بكلف 2300 شيء زي هيك. يعني تقريبا حوالي 350 دينار شيء زي هيك.
350
او 250 شيء زي هيك. يعني شيء زي هيك. ففي قطر غير، وفي الاردن، وفي الامارات غير، وحسب كل دوله يعني. يس. طبعا اختبار المستوى بس اي حدا يبعث لي على الواتساب ببعث له امتحان مستوى بسيطه. Yes, any other questions, guys? Yes, who would like to ask any question? Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I'm so glad to have you here all. And tomorrow also, if you like, guys, anyone like to join us in tomorrow's session, اللي بحب يحضر معنا حصة بكرة، اوكي، انا رح انزل عليها اعلان عنا على الفيسبوك، او ابعت لي على الواتساب، ببعت لك رابط الدخول على حصة بكرة. رح تكون اول حصة في الكورس، اللي بحب يحضرها برضو اهلا وسهلا، برحب فيكم كلكم. اوكي. You are so welcome, everyone. Take care. يعطيكم الف عافية and see you. بالتوفيق. مع السلامة. Thank you.
باي باي.
باي
باي باي دكتور. Thank you.
باي باي everyone. Yeah, you are so welcome. الله يعافيك.